That's what's happening right now. Yep. Nice. We're already live.
Jackson County. Yep.
Are we already live?
Yep, your mic is live.
All right, sweet. All right, I will say that. All right, Archie Barge. Karthik, you want to come too? Or Karthik, you want to come or you want to stay in the bus? You want to stay in the bus?
He slept a lot. He's still awake now.
Okay, all right. All right, if he wants to come in, he can come in. All right, let's get out, man.
And I'm going to leave.
Patrick will get you.
You'll get me?
Thank you, sir. See you in a bit. All right, there's the camera. Double Grassley, finished it here. And if you have no idea what that means, then more power to you because people just make up these terms anyway. But we did every county in Iowa at least twice, many of them multiple times over. And it wasn't as a product of effort to try to hit the milestone, it's just what we happened to do. So most of these politicians, presidential candidates, usually have one a cycle that'll do the full Grassley. They check the box and went to all 99 counties. We've done close to over 330 events by the time we finished this Iowa caucus on January 15th. It so happens we did all of them twice. So this is the stop where we did the double Grassley. Hey, guys. Yes, it's good to see you. Saye, it's nice to meet you.
This is Mr. Ramaswamy.
It's good to meet you. I'm Vivek. Hey.
I'm Kim Reed. It's nice to meet you.
You joining us today?
Well, we didn't know you were here. We were
Come on in, if you'd like.
What do you just give
We'll
it
do a little town hall, yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
You go visit?
You want to come hang out with us for a little bit?
He's running for president.
Come on in.
That
This is my
cool?
son, Arjun.
Hey.
Sure, good to see you. Hey, come on in, guys. Thank you. Good to see you. Yeah. Good to see you.
Look up to, be proud of, and want to be a part of this amazing country and this American dream. The next president of the United States, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Thank you, guys. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys. Hey, good to see you guys. Been a minute since we saw you. Rowdy, how are you? Good. It's good to see you guys. Okay, good to see you guys. How you doing? It's been a minute. Yes. It's good to see you. Thank you, man. You got my wife Apurva and our son Arjun here as well. Karthik is in the bus, so he may or may not join us. And we picked up a couple new friends outside. What's your name? Tell me your name again, young woman. Saeed. Good to see you. So let's have an open conversation here. Oh wow, I like this. Great question. Rowdy reminds us that high school. She's not quite in high school yet, but high school students can vote at the Republican caucus, even if they're 17. As long as they turn 18 before the November date. So that's a good one.
And if they're too young, they can contribute cash.
Not cash. Yeah, there's all these. Yeah. But they can contribute their volunteer hours. That's what we try to give them is actually their experience. To be proud to be citizens of this country. How old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking? You're 11? You're 14. I like your shirt because it says 1776 spirit on that shirt. That's what we need to revive in this country. I think we live in a 1776 moment right now.
Amen.
You know, we talked about this before. Thomas Jefferson, he was a relatively young man. He was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. He invented the swivel chair while he was at it. We need to rediscover what this country is. What do we stand for? Who are we and what do we stand for? That's the thing that's going on in this country right now is we are lost. We're hungry for direction. Young people especially are hungry for purpose and meaning. At a time in our history when the things that used to guide us, faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family, these things have disappeared, and that leaves a black hole in its wake. That's when the poison fills the void. Pick your favorite one, from wokeism to transgenderism to climatism to COVIDism, depression, anxiety, fentanyl, suicide. These are symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. And I see a Republican Party that has fallen short, a Republican Party that has grown lazy. We'll sit here criticizing the other side's vision. They'll give you a vision, the left will. It's not the right one, but they'll give you something. race, gender, sexuality, climate. When we're sitting here just criticizing that vision without offering a vision of our own, what do we actually stand for as Americans? Individual, family, nation,
Freedom.
God, freedom, meritocracy, the pursuit of excellence, the rule of law. I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. I'll move our military to our southern border and our northern border too, because that's what it means to stand for the rule of law.
Amen.
The people we elect to run the government ought to once again be the ones who actually run the government, not the three-letter agencies in the deep state that's running the show today. If I get one thing done as your next president, we're shutting down the fourth branch of government. I'm going to fire 75% of those federal bureaucrats by the end of my first term. That's how you drain the swamp. Let's get serious about it this time around. That's how you get the job done. Shut down government agencies that should no longer exist.
That's right.
FBI, ATF, CDC, U.S. Department of Education. We're not just going to reform them around the edges anymore. We're going to get in there and shut them down. That's how you save this country. Don't start with last year's budget as the baseline and try to massage it around the edges. Start with zero as the baseline and ask what's actually necessary. That's how you fight the national debt crisis in this country. These aren't black ideas or white ideas. These aren't even really Democrat ideas or Republican ideas, not really. These are American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure. And yes, to get them back, we do need to fix some practical things in this country. Elections we can trust and that we can believe in. I'll deliver that as your next president. Single-day voting on Election Day as a national holiday with paper ballots, government-issued voter ID to match the voter file, and yes, English as the sole language that appears on a ballot. We got to be united in something as a country.
Paper ballots?
Paper ballots, absolutely, and government-issued ID to match the voter file. Those will be the minimal federal standards for federal elections. They'll be run by the states, but it's okay for the federal government to set minimal standards for federal elections. That's what we need in this country. These are basic rules of the road. It's not black or white or red or blue. These are American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in 1776. And I believe deep in my heart that those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. We've lost that in this country, and here's how we're going to get it back. It's going to be by all of us, not just me. All of us starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you'll say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. And I'll close with this before we open this up to conversation. I want you to ask yourself why I'm the only candidate in this race who can tell you certain things. That I'll end the special liability immunity for vaccine manufacturers that stops them from being sued. I will end it because it's the right thing to do. The only person who'll tell you I'm against the CO2 pipeline making its way across half this state because it's unconstitutional to use eminent domain. That it's based on a climate change agenda that, I'll say it, is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. The only person who could tell you that Ronna McDaniel needs to step aside after 5 failed years of leadership. Because we need accountability in our own party, the Republican Party, if we ever have a chance of bringing accountability to government. To tell you that I will pardon every peaceful protester from January 6th because that's the right thing to do for this country, to stand for the rule of law. Why am I the only candidate who can tell you these things? It's because our politics has become corrupt. Every politician basically anymore these days is dancing to the tune of their biggest donor. In my case, that biggest donor is me. I don't report to them. I report to you, the people of this country. And I would rather speak the truth and lose this election than to win by playing some fake political snakes and ladders. That's the truth. That's what we stand for. But if you want somebody who's going to get in there and shut down the deep state and speak truth to power, then vote for the candidate who's going to speak the truth to you. You guys do your part. I'm going to do mine, and we're going to make sure our country's best days are still ahead of us. January 15th is when it begins. Thank you for coming out today, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our great country. Got time to open this up for a couple questions before we head over to the next town. Please, sir.
What do you make of President Biden's response to the attacks on our troops in Iraq?
Super weak. Here's what I'll say is, so there's two things I'll say. Both are important. One is the short run and one is the medium to long run. In the short run, my rule is always clear. It's what I would teach our boys. And my younger one, he's 17 months, so Purva took him out probably. But my older one is about 4 years old, and I'll tell him this. You never be a bully to somebody else, but if somebody hits you, you hit them back 10 times harder.
Amen.
You will not be bullied. We will not be bullied. So that applies in the Middle East as well. If you hit us, whoever hits us, not some, made-up chain, but if you hit us, we will hit you back 10 times harder. Now, that's against the backdrop of the fact that I don't think it's a good idea for us to be having our troops as sitting ducks in places like Syria or Iraq in the first place. So I'll never leave with bullets to our back. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the prior generation of president and what they did. You can come on in here, guys. You can come on. You got a seat up here for you if you'd like. Thank you. We got one here too. Young man. But that's what I would say. So I will never have our troops in places where they shouldn't be. I'm going to move our troops to our own southern border. What I'd tell Bibi, if he's the president of Israel, prime minister of Israel, is you can smoke the terrorists on your southern border, and we stand for your right to do it. We're going to smoke the terrorists on our own southern border. We got an invasion on our own southern border right here at home. Stand for what's right here. So my foreign policy is I'm going to keep us out of World War III. I'll declare economic independence from communist China. We can't depend on our enemy for our modern way of life. And then I'll use our own military resources and national defense spending to defend our own homeland right here at home. That's what it means to put America first. It doesn't come with an asterisk. That's what I would tell you. Thank you. Rowdy, we'll come here and then we'll go to you.
Yeah, it was talked about before you got here about the polling.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. The polling it follows the money. And you look at the two former governors that are currently in the race, the money has been chasing different candidates, and
it's all fake.
They left the donor money has left them because they know they're not going to win.
Yes.
Address that one.
Well, thank you. I think we're going to deliver a major surprise here on January 15th here in Iowa at the Iowa caucus. Most of our supporters are not polled, actually. Many of them are first-time caucus goers. And we're going to shock the system on January 15th for the same reason that I think we're going to win the general election in a landslide. And that's what we need right now. This cannot be another 50.1 election. We're skating on thin ice as a country. This needs to be a decisive moral mandate, like what Ronald Reagan delivered in 1980. That's what I'm going to deliver you in 2024. I think we can do it. Young people, even former libertarians, America First patriots who haven't been traditional Republicans, build a broad, multi-ethnic, working-class coalition of people young and old, across the board, inner city to rural. That's how we're going to win this election in a landslide. And a landslide minus, let's be real, minus some shenanigans, is still going to be a decisive victory. And I want to use this as an opportunity to also share with you guys, because you have a choice to make in about 14 days, January 15th. I respect the heck out of Donald Trump, my predecessor in this America First movement. He did a lot for this country. He kept us out of foreign wars that didn't advance our interest, and he grew this economy. But first, I'm going to cut right to the chase here. If you think they're going to let this man get anywhere near the White House again, I want you to think again and open your eyes. These people will stop at nothing. At this point, they've made it clear. These people will stop at nothing to stop this man from getting anywhere near the White House again. They've laid a trap for us. Do not fall into their trap. They're selling us the rope today that they will use to hang us tomorrow. Last time it was a global pandemic, a man-made pandemic in a lab, and big tech rigged election. This time they're going to stop at nothing. Look at this. And I've done everything I can. For those who've been following this, I opposed those prosecutions. I said I would take my name off the ballots from Maine to Colorado because that's the right thing to do if they remove Trump's name. I asked the other candidates in this race, the puppets, whether they would do it. They said they wouldn't do it. So this problem is within the Republican Party too. But at the end of the day, our movement cannot end with Donald Trump. The America First movement is bigger than one man. It's bigger than Trump. It's bigger than me. It belongs to you, the people of this country. It didn't start in 2016. It started in 1776. Amen. We owe it to George Washington. We owe it to our founding fathers. We're 250 years in. We cannot be in the generation, in the moment where this comes to an end. That's what I think is at stake in this election. We're skating on thin ice. I am worried if we go 5 more years in the direction that we are, if the interest payments on our national debt become the largest line item in our federal budget, if my older son's in high school before we get this right, heck, if some of the things play out this year that I'm worried are brewing in this country, I'm worried we may not have a country left. That's where I think we are. And so I'm asking you to do the right thing for the country, even if it's something a little different than you thought you were going to do a few months ago, maybe even a few weeks ago. They've left nothing to the imagination at this point. You see what they're doing from Colorado to Maine. That's just a preview of what's coming in 2024. Do not fall for their trick. We love the man because he got this fight started. Now it is our job to finish it. You got the future of America First standing right here. We're in the middle of a war for the identity of this country, for the existence of this country. It is a war between those of us who love the United States of America and a fringe minority who hates this country and what we stand for and wants to stop it from existing. Between the managerial class and the deep state and the everyday citizen. That is what's at stake right now. If you want a commander-in-chief who can lead us to victory in this war, that's what we want. Pick a general who is not yet wounded in that war. That's what I'm asking you to do the right thing. I will not be duped. I will build on what Donald Trump left off with, but take this to the future, to the next level. That's what we deserve. That's what we require as a country. So I'm asking you to do the right thing on January 15th, to take America First to the next level. That's why I'm in this and wanted to address that candidly. Because that's what's at stake right now. Right there, sir.
I had a friend the other day tell me, if it's not illegal, it can't be unethical. And if it's not unethical,
Nope.
It can't be illegal. What do you think of that?
I disagree with your friend. I disagree with your friend. Our Constitution was made for a moral people. That's what John Adams said. Right? What's the point of going through the motions if it's not against the backdrop of shared values that ground who we are? Just because you can do something legally doesn't make it the right thing. This is what free speech is. The First Amendment's all about. Is it right that those college students are chanting death to Israel? No, it's not. Do they have the right to say it? Yes, they do. That's what makes America great. That's what makes America itself. So once we start equating with everything that's legal is automatically moral, then we're done. That's the ball game. We might as well go home. But we needn't. I think most of us know that in our hearts. But my faith is what leads me to this journey. And I'll just say a word about my faith. It's important to me, and you all deserve to know what guides me. I'm actually Hindu. It's a slightly different faith than the traditional faith background of people who run for U.S. president. And John Adams, in his letters, I was looking at this the other day, to Thomas Jefferson, actually became a kind of a Hindu scholar after his time after the presidency. And he found the same thing that I do, which is that we still share the same values that this country was founded on. He was actually the one who said our Constitution was made for a moral people. A poor of us coming here too. It's important to both of us. We're raising our kids in the same tradition. We're talking about faith a little bit. The heart of our faith is that there's one true God.
Amen.
He puts us here for a purpose. It's our duty to realize that purpose, but we're all still equal because we're equal in the eyes of God. Now, both of us did, but I had a very traditional, probably even between the two of us, I had probably the more traditional upbringing. My parents were, and we grew up in the same values. They taught us, honor your parents. Family is the foundation. Marriage is sacred. They taught us it's between a man and a woman, that you don't get divorced when things go wrong. Adultery is wrong. Abstinence before marriage is the way to go. That the good things in life involve a sacrifice. It's not just about this life, it's about the eternal life. I get to St. Xavier High School, where I went to school in Cincinnati in 9th grade. We read the Ten Commandments for the first time. What do they say? It's become unfashionable anymore to talk about the Ten Commandments. There's one true God. Don't take his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath. Don't kill. That's where our pro-life views come from. Don't kill, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't covet. These feel like foreign values today. Can you do some of those things? Some of those things and not violate the law? Sure you can. Does that mean you're doing the right thing? No, you're not. And so I think we need a president who will stand for those shared values. Do we share those same Judeo-Christian values in common? You're darn right we do, and we will stand for them for this country. Will I swear an oath to that Constitution and keep it? Yes. Both of those things are important. That's what we require in the next president. That's what I'm going to give you. And we're in this together as we do it. One final question, they're telling me. Young man, did we have one in the... We'll give it to the young man, then we'll catch up. Yes, thank you. Thank you, that's a great question. And that's something the president can do. I mean, think about the government that has lied to us systematically. But the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that never was, the origin of COVID-19. If you said it came from a lab in China, you were suppressed. Until now we know it's true. The government knew that much sooner. They systematically lied about it, to how our money's being spent in Ukraine, to the truth about what happened on January 6th. It's not what they've sold you. Even today, a lot of the Jeffrey Epstein client lists coming out. Now you're seeing how people at the highest levels of both parties are ensnared in one of the uglier tales and more sordid tales of our time. We, the people, we can handle the truth. Now, you're 11, you said? How old are you? Almost 13. Sorry, your neighbor. This movie's probably predates you. You ever seen the movie A Few Good Men? You check it out. Check it out. The end of the movie, there's sort of the climax of the movie. You all know what I'm talking about. You know, the Jack Nicholson scene. You can't handle the truth. That's kind of what I feel like our government's telling us today. And I say back, no, we the people, we can handle the truth. We demand the truth. We require the truth. We deserve the truth. The reason people don't anymore trust the government is the government doesn't trust the people with the truth. Just give us the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Give it to us when it's ugly. We can handle it. But just tell us what's true.
We can't handle the lie.
We can't handle the lie. We're done with the lies. We refuse to handle the lies anymore. That's who we are. If there's one thing I give you as your next president, we're going to give you total transparency. Anytime a government official has pressured a private company to do something through the back door that the government couldn't do through the front door, we're going to publish it, and we'll go after the lawbreakers. I don't care if it's Anthony Fauci or anybody else. We're going to go after them and have actual accountability, not with vengeance, but with applying the rule of law even-handedly for all Americans. That's what you deserve. Your government's lied to you about the national debt for a long time. You have $200,000 of debt on your shoulders that you didn't sign up for. That's immoral. That's wrong. You deserve a president who makes sure that we're actually fighting to make sure we fix that in the next 5 years. If we don't fix it in the next 5 years, we're in quicksand. When those interest payments become the largest line item on our federal deficit, they're lying to you about that. They're lying to you about this war in Ukraine being at all in the American interest when it's actually increasing the risk of World War III. Well, we send $200 billion of our money, your money, so that some kleptocrat in another country can buy a bigger house. We deserve the truth as Americans. If there's one thing I'll give you as U.S. president, it's kind of the way I've been running this campaign. As I said before, if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, vote for somebody who's speaking the truth to you right now. Our politics is so corrupt that every politician has become a circus monkey, a pawn. Fix that and you fix the rest. Congressmen shouldn't be able to trade individual stocks while they're working in Congress. Neither should the bureaucrats. You shouldn't be able to lobby the government for 10 years until after you've left that same government. These are basic changes, basic rules of the road that if we revive them, we'll have a government that's honest again. But it's going to take somebody now, I believe, from the outside, from the next generation to reach and lead the new generation of Americans. That's why we're in this. Poor, are you going to say a word to close us out before we head out?
First of all, thank you so much for coming out today. I think about this now, it's a new year, and I think about it's almost exactly a year, a little over, since Vivek came to me and told me he wanted to run for president, which at the time, we had a 6-month-old and a 3.5-year-old, so it was kind of a crazy thing for us to decide to do. And the reason that I supported him, and I support him wholeheartedly today, is because he is someone who keeps his promises. After he finished law school, he came to me and told me, Apurva, pharmaceutical companies do a terrible job of making the drugs that we need as Americans. They cost too much, they take too long, and they don't develop the right drugs. I'm going to start a company that's going to do better than all of them. And I said to, at the time, my, 27-year-old fiance, don't you think you should work for a company or do something else first? And he said, no, I see what we need to do and I'm going to do it. And he did it. And he started a company that has now developed drugs that no other company, Pfizer, all these other companies, had looked away. And he developed these drugs. And there's children out here living in America because of the drugs that this company developed. Then he came and he started seeing the way that the government and other outside institutions are affecting the way companies are working, and companies are affecting the way government is working. And that bothered him. And he wrote a book about it. He wrote Woke Inc. And then not only did he see the problem, he started a company to address the problem with Strive, going up against, how many of you have heard of BlackRock?
Oh, yeah.
So he started the leading competitor to BlackRock in the anti-ESG, pro-capitalist movement. This is a man who sees problems far ahead of anyone else, and then he acts on them. And then when he came to me a year ago and said, Apurva, the problems that our sons are going to be facing are ones that are from the government, and there's no other way I can fix them but by having someone who is a president who can see these problems and fix them and go to the head of the beast. And that's why he said he was going to run for president, and that is why I support him, because I know he's going to fix it.
Thank you. I think they're calling you. The family, I think they're gesturing for the kiddos. We're juggling nap times with the kids while we're in the middle of this. And I promise you we're not doing it out